Several names slated to return for Undertaker's final farewell. WWE official wants to punch Randy Orton, and Lilian Garcia reveals why she was forced to leave WWE. Hello everyone, Jose G here, bringing you today's top 5 stories in today's Sportskeeda news update. Several WWE returns confirmed for Undertaker's final farewell at Survivor Series. Savio Vega was a guest on the Wrestling Inc.'s daily podcast with Nick Hausman, and the former WWE superstar confirmed that he would be at Survivor Series to be a part of Undertaker's final farewell festivities. Vega revealed that he got a call last week on Friday and was asked whether he would like to be a part of Undertaker's farewell moment. The Bone Street Krew member considers Undertaker to be an excellent friend, and he wasn't going to pass up on that opportunity. When asked about his role at Survivor Series, Vega stated that he would just be there alongside several other BSK members. Vega revealed the names of fellow BSK members Rikishi, the Godwins, and the Godfather, and he's eagerly looking forward to spending time with his crew, saying, quote, "Yes, I got a call on Friday of last week before I got on the plane to New York City, and I was asked if I'd like to be in this big moment of Undertaker / Mark Calloway's career. I'll be there as a friend, as a wrestler, and as a BSK member. And when they called me and asked if I'd like to be there, of course, why not? He's my friend. He's a good person. So on the 21st, I'm flying to Orlando, and we're going to be at Survivor Series on the 22nd. Savio Vega won't be the only wrestling personality to appear at Survivor Series, as WWE has lined up a star-studded lineup for the pay-per-view. PW Insider reported that Kane would also be at the pay-per-view on November 22nd, and that was always expected to happen, as the Big Red Machine is the Undertaker's storyline brother. Undertaker's final farewell at Survivor Series will be a memorable moment, and the fans should gear up for some big surprises. Miro says he met Tony Khan backstage at a WWE show. AEW president Tony Khan has been a big fan of pro wrestling, which has possibly helped him build the company to where it is now, despite having no prior experience. AEW has taken on the might of WWE, and over the year later, they seem to have held their own against the behemoth. Khan has spoken about his love of pro wrestling in the past, and a former WWE superstar revealed that he actually met Tony Khan backstage at a WWE event. Miro, known as Rusev in the WWE and now part of AEW, recently said that he met Tony Khan backstage at a WWE show and revealed that the AEW president was very generous to him. While speaking on the Talk is Jericho podcast, Miro said that he met with Tony Khan at a WWE live event around 5 years ago, saying, quote, "I was lucky that I met Mr. Khan a couple of times. He came backstage at a live event one time. He came to the WWE backstage maybe 5 years ago. He brought a whole bunch of swag because we were in Jacksonville. Then I think Jacksonville came to Nashville to play the Titans. So my father-in-law, he's a pastor, but he's also a huge football fan. So I contacted Tony, and Tony gave us tickets." Miro said that his father-in-law, WWE superstar Lana's father, is a football fan, and that he took him along as well as their Uber driver. He revealed that Khan brought Miro and his 2 guests to the sidelines, and that he had a, quote, "beautiful experience." Tony Khan's father, Shahid Khan, owns the NFL team Jacksonville Jaguars. WWE producer Adam Pearce wants to punch Randy Orton. WWE champion Randy Orton has had a superb 2020 with 2 fantastic feuds in WWE, first against Edge and more recently against Drew McIntyre. On the recent episode of Raw, WWE producer on-screen authority figure Adam Pearce told the Viper that he would face McIntyre in a rematch on next week's Raw, which resulted in the WWE champion snapping at Pearce. Pearce was a recent guest on the Corey Graves After the Bell podcast, where he brought up Randy Orton again. Pearce responds to Corey Graves' question saying, quote, "The heel in me likes the way you think. You know what, man? I want Randy Orton to run his mouth just a little bit too much to WWE official Adam Pearce so he can eat the same right hand that your nose did way back then. I don't know, WWE official may be the same WWE official Adam Pearce has to make a match, or maybe the chairman Vince McMahon says, no, you put your foot in your mouth and now you've got to have a match against the Viper, and then he RKO's me in 30 seconds. Pearce then added that he will do whatever he's asked to do, as the two joked about it. Pearce has been featured prominently as an authority figure in WWE over the last year. The WWE producer is a 5-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion and had a great run in the independent scene before hanging up his boots in 2014. He hasn't wrestled in WWE yet, and his last match came in ROH 6 years ago. Kane compares WWE to the Mafia. In the latest edition of Ryan Satin's one-on-one interview series for WWE on Fox, featured the legendary Kane as the special guest. The interview primarily focused on The Undertaker's career and the Dead Man's final farewell schedule to happen at Survivor Series. Kane spoke about The Undertaker's retirement and whether the Phenom would retire for good. The Big Red Machine also explained that The Undertaker wouldn't completely vanish from the business, as it just doesn't happen in WWE's case. Kane said that WWE is a little bit like the Mafia, as you never get to leave, as it's just a break until you are brought back in some capacity. Kane also referenced the Eagles' iconic song Hotel California by saying that WWE is like a place where you can check out, but you can never entirely leave if you are a legend. Saying, quote, "The Undertaker is always going to be an attraction." So when WWE is one of those deals, it's a little bit like the Mafia. You never get quite to leave, and I'm sure with someone who has been as important as The Undertaker, that he would be around in some form of fashion for quite some time. Yeah, it is. I mean, Hotel California, you can check out, but you can never leave. It's kind of the way it goes, and it's always the one more that gets you, right? Just one more, and then there's always just one more after the one more. It seems like WWE's time and effort have all gone into pushing November as the month to pay homage to the career of The Undertaker. The build-up will all come to an end with The Undertaker's farewell on November 22nd at Survivor Series. Lilian Garcia reveals the reason she was forced to leave WWE. Lilian Garcia was in the middle of her second stint with the company in 2016 when she left the company in August. Lilian Garcia had a good reason to step away and admitted that she did not want to leave the company at the time. The WWE ring announcer talked about this and more during her interview with Chris Van Vliet. In 2016, Lilian Garcia's father was extremely sick and she was forced to leave the company as she wanted to spend time with him. Saying, quote, "That was so hard and I wasn't intending to leave the company. At this point I had put 15 years in, but I was still okay with staying. I loved it, but then my father got really sick. He told us he had 2 weeks to 3 months to live." Lilian Garcia revealed that due to her father being sick, she had to leave WWE, as being a part of a full-time WWE schedule and also giving time to her father was not possible. Saying, quote, "It was kind of like a decision was made and it was okay because I took care of him. And during that time, he's like, Lil, I don't want you to sit here and watch me die. What can you be doing next? I felt bad that you're not there anymore." I was like, well, I had this idea in 2004 for this little show that I thought would be really cool to talk to the superstars, and it all started with the females, end quote. That conversation with her father led Lilian Garcia starting her podcast, Chasing Glory, where she interviews different WWE stars and other personalities. Garcia went on to explain why she enjoyed the podcast so much, saying, quote, "I was just so enamored with the stories that they were sharing as they were in the locker room, getting close with one another. I had pitched it to WWE in 2004, this is before Total Divas and all of that, but the timing of it wasn't there. There wasn't really a home. It was just before its time. So I was like, maybe I'll just do that. I started the podcast in November 2016. Now Lilian Garcia's podcast is extremely successful, signing again and bringing the podcast to the WWE Network. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda news update. Follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app from the App Store for the most up-to-date news stories in the world of wrestling.